Hello everyone. I just wanted to get on here and talk about a big change that's going to be happening to me on July 25th, and that is I'm going to be moving. I've been here for around 6.5 years, and it's my second time actually moving in Japan, and the experience is definitely different from the first. The first time I was actually living in student housing, and I wasn't actually the homeowner, so to speak. It was being leased by the school, so the contract was in their name. So certain things that I'll talk about a little bit later didn't apply when I moved that time that do apply this time. But when I moved the first time, I found a person who actually specializes in helping foreigners, which is a tip for some people who might be living in the larger cities. There are people who do that, and it can be very, very useful, especially if you have difficulty with Japanese. But anyway, we discussed what I was looking for. We went around, we looked at maybe 5 places or so, and eventually I settled on this one. He helped a lot with the paperwork, and it was a very smooth process, so he did a very, very good job, I thought. At the time, I really didn't have many possessions. Most of it was the school stuff, so it had to, of course, stay there. And so I had to get stuff later on, so, you know. But there weren't really any issues, and there haven't been really many issues with this place at all. The only real problem I ever had was the air conditioner was leaking a few years ago, but the realtor actually came and fixed that. And that's something else to keep in mind, that certain apartments actually have things provided with them, like air conditioner, lights, etc. So in that case, it's actually the realtor's responsibility to come and fix that stuff. On the other hand, there are some apartments that don't have this stuff, and you have to actually buy it yourself. So for example, if I had an apartment where the air conditioner wasn't provided, I'd have to go out and get that and pay for the install, and the air conditioner unit alone can run anywhere from around 200,000 yen or more, and that's about $2,000 US. And then installation fee is separate. Not only that, if you do get it yourself, then you're responsible for fixing it yourself if anything goes wrong. So that's something you should definitely keep in mind. But the new place that I'll be going to does have a lot of the stuff provided, and including the air conditioner. So that's good. But next I'm going to talk a little bit about the procedure of moving and how to go about doing it. So I said before, there are sometimes people who will actually help foreigners, and you can find them by searching. But the main way is certain websites can be used where you can actually search for properties, but pretty much all of these are going to be in Japanese, so if you can read it, that definitely helps, and that definitely gives you some more options. So let's just take a quick look at one of them. Here's a screenshot of one of the Japanese sites that I use, which is called Sumo. That has no relation with sumo wrestling, by the way. It basically just means let's live in Japanese. I won't get into navigating the site, but if you can read Japanese, then using the site, you can do things like select your area, the desired size of the apartment, what things come with it, etc. So that's just one resource of many out there that you can use. So anyway, after researching some properties, the next step was to then contact some of the real estate companies who are offering the properties. I'll put a quick list on screen here of some of the real estate companies that are in my area. These include Upperman Shop, Mini Mini, and Nisho, just to name a few. So after researching some properties, the next step was to go and meet with the real estate company and do some of the initial paperwork. So we did that, and then we went to go see in around maybe 6 to 7 places. After thinking about and deciding on the place that I wanted, the next step was to contact them again to secure the place. And wouldn't have thought you could do this, but you can actually negotiate the rent. Got the rent decreased by around 4,000 yen, which is around $38 to $40 US per month. So that was nice. And another thing during the negotiations was got them to install a kind of a bar in the closet for hanging up your clothes. I really don't get why that wasn't in there to begin with, but yeah, it's in there now, and it was free. So that was definitely a plus. Another part of the negotiation was actually with the moving company. So with that, we got them to decrease their price by a little bit, and then they also provided some boxes. So, negotiations are possible, but just be aware that not everyone will do it. One issue some foreigners have is something called a guarantor. If you don't know what a guarantor is, it's basically someone who assumes responsibility if the renter were to suddenly disappear without notice and fail to make final payment of the rent. And it can be a big burden, so a lot of, even if they're close friends, that people won't become guarantors. It's usually like actual family or your actual company can be a guarantor. In the case of a company, though, you have to be careful because your company can actually dictate where you live. And if you were to change jobs, they could back out of being your guarantor and then you'd find yourself in a position of having to move. So only do that if you absolutely have to. But anyway, in my case, I actually used a guarantor company. And for this apartment, it adds around 700 yen, which is around $6-7 per month. But it saves so much hassle. So if you can go with that solution, I would say definitely do it. And the new apartment will also use the guarantor company. So after finalizing the property, the next step was to make arrangements with a moving company for the time and dates. And after doing that, the final step was to contact the real estate company again to basically finish the contract. So I met with them the final time. The final invoice was prepared, and then some money was paid up front. The rest of it will get paid afterwards. So yeah, that was the general process. So now I'm going to talk about some of the things that needed to be done with the old place. So with this place, the main step was to contact the owners of this building and then arrange a move-out date. So on that date, I will come back here, they'll do a final evaluation, and then I need to return the key. When I was talking about the person who helped me rent this place, he warned me about things like, don't hit any nails into the wall, don't make any renovations, etc., which I haven't done. So I really don't think they're going to have any problems with me. I like to think that I kept the place clean. Another thing that needed to be done was to contact the gas, water, and electric companies to stop the services, which I've already done, as well as my internet provider because the new place will have new internet. And then one document that I needed to go get is actually called a Tenshutsu Todoke, which basically translates to like a proof of leaving the premises or, a proof that you're moving out. Basically, it's just to make things official. But this document, in my case, I was actually able to get at my local ward office. So here's a little photo of that. Some cities actually require you to go all the way to City Hall, which thankfully I didn't need to do that. So the process was pretty smooth. I just went in and then I told them what I was there to get. I had to sit down and fill out a paper, hand it in, sit down again, and then they called my number and I got the document. It didn't cost anything either. So after I move, I will then have to take this document to City Hall of the new city, and then that basically finalizes the change of address officially. So that pretty much covers it. The new city that I'm going to be moving to is around a 10-minute or so commute from here, which really isn't that bad. In my old job, there were actually two locations where one of them, it was a 30-minute train ride and then maybe around a 10-minute bike ride on top of that just to get to work, and the other city was around a 25-minute train ride and like a 5 to 7-minute walk to the office. So this one is definitely better than it was in the past. I've heard of people who've commuted even longer times than that too, so definitely nothing to complain about. It'll be kind of weird though, because I haven't actually had to commute to work in 5 years, but I'm sure I'll adjust. So other than that, I don't think there's anything left to talk about. I think I'll end things here. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it informative, and thanks for watching.